Good afternoon. In this video we start covering action codes that allow you to perform some actions in the system, to change a value automatically. What does it look like? There is a code action table. You can find it by searching in the demo solution. It contains three fields: field 1, field 2, field 3, with values. I want the value in field 2 to automatically change to 100 in the same row when I make a change in field 1. This is the condition. Right now the value here is 20, and I want it to become 100 when we change it. What do we do for this? We move to the field 1. In the settings there is a block, action code. We switch it on and here we need to write code with an action function. It starts with from equals colon. One of the basic functions of the action is set. Set sets a new value in the specified cell. Here we specify the required table, the current table. We want field 2 equals new value 100. Where? In the same row, id equals sharp id. Parameter log true enables logging. We click save. Let's try to experiment. For example, here we had B, change it to D, save, and nothing happens. Look, the star that represents the action code is transparent. It's not enough to just include the action code and write the code there. You have to say which trigger will cause the action. One of them is to execute on change. When at least one trigger is specified, we save. The star becomes colored. That is, the action code is not just there, but it is assigned a trigger. Enter S. And here we see that not only the field in which we made changes, but also changed the value in field 2. If we go to the log, we see that I as an administrator from the user administrator made a change using the script, and after the change the value of this field was 100. At what point is the action code executed? It is executed after all the codes. That is, first all the codes are calculated and then the machine looks at which fields were changed. If there is a change trigger in the changed fields, then the action codes are executed in the same order in which the field value calculation codes were executed. That is performed in the rows part for the row calculation unit from left to right in ascending sort order. The header codes are executed first, then prefiler ones, then in a rows part, then column footers, then general footer if it exists, for example in calculation and temporary tables. Now let's look at a situation like this. Here we have action code that changes the value in field 2. What happens if we write action code in field 2 that changes the value in field 3? We go here, we enable the action code. We set it on change right away. About 80% of all the triggers are on change. And here we write, set in the current table in field 3 we put value up, where id equals id. If we write such a where condition, which corresponds to several rows, only one of them will be changed by the set function. We will talk more about this later. This is done to prevent errors. Set performs single actions in a single row. Even if there is more than one according to a condition, the change will be made only in one. Okay, let's save and do the same thing. We change the value in field 1 to H and we see that we have changes. Here we do it manually. Then the action code that changed field 2 has been executed. Then the action code here has been executed, because the change happened here. It doesn't matter who made it, whether it was manually done by a person or a machine did it by code, the change happened. And another action code is executed which changes the value in field 3. Such a cascade causes recalculations. We changed, the table was recalculated, the action was called, it changed this table. In this case it is only this row, because it is a row recalculation unit and there is no header. There was a recalculation. Next, it noted that there are changes here, and performed another action, and there was one more recalculation. That is, this gives us a cascade of recalculations, and this increases the load on the server. Therefore, if you want to make changes in several fields at once with one action, it is more logical to do following. Field is a multiple parameter. We write change field 2 and field 3, and in this case we remove the action code from here. Action code disable. Here the star has disappeared. And now, when we change the value of a field, there is a recalculation. And then there is one action that changes both fields at once, which is the second recalculation. This is a significant optimization. We should not forget about it in real projects. You can't see any difference here, but in real projects on large tables it can be very noticeable. What happens if we have several rows changing at once? We specify U and say that it is a group change. Several action codes are executed sequentially from top to bottom. If it is a calculation table, then in order of increasing id or in order of increasing n. In simple tables the order depends on the sorting field. It was changed 2 fields, therefore 2 action codes are called. The table was recalculated 3 times. It was recalculated first this recalculation unit and then this one. Here no further changes were made. And here the value was changed to the letter A. This way of organizing action code calls causes a strong overshoot for the calculation and temporary tables. This is mostly critical for calculations inside cycles. There is an advanced approach that allows you to perform a single action on multiple row changes. But we'll look at it in the advanced part. Know that there is such a possibility. Can action functions be executed from formatting codes? No, action functions are only executed from action code. There are a couple of exceptions that are specifically mentioned in the documentation and tutorials. These functions are the recalculate function and the getFromScript function, which allows you to fetch data from another server. You should be very careful when using the recalculate and getFromScript in calculate codes because it's easy to loop or hang a table. The last thing I want to show in this video is the difference between set and setlist. I will make a button in the header, call it a button, and it is exactly a button. Let's type press me here. I just like to always capitalize on buttons. I think it's nicer that way. Save. The width is 300. Now we set the field width to 300. Apply. And then we write the code. There is no value calculation code in the button. There is only action code, and it will be performed not by trigger, but when we click on the button, or we can call this code from action function. There is an action function called execButtonList. And now I will show you the difference between set and setlist. Set in the current table in field 3. We will set the letter B, where it is not equal to 0. That is, it is all rows that are in the table. Any row fits under this condition. We press save. We click the button, and we see that one row has changed. Postgres chooses this row at random. It can be 1 at 99 times, and the 100th time, it can be 3, 30, 35. There is absolutely no way to guess. Next, if we want multiple rows to change by conditions at once, Totem has a separation between single and multiple operations. Like select list. We should say that it will be set list. In this case, the change will be performed on all rows, which meet the condition where Let's try it. We press me and we have all the rest of the rows become B. Actually, recalculation was called for this row too, but since it was already B, no change trigger would be called here and only the second and third rows have blinked green. That's all for this video. Try it on your server or on a demo server. And when it starts to work, go to the next video. For example, try to set something in a header, footer and see how it differs from a rows part. They are significant. See you in the next videos.